Oh, motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread. That's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, they get the taste out your mouth. That's for damn sure. Now, fuck him. Fuck that. Because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. And that goes for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Haters gonna hate. And haters gonna hate.
That is not an actual thing people say.
Yo, what's happening? Maestro Styles, Trey Frazier. Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, man. We appreciate y'all coming in. If you're listening for the first time, welcome. If you are a returning listener, we appreciate you. Shout out to the A1 Day Ones. Real quick information, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. You can follow myself at Maestro Styles. You can follow Trey at Trey Frazier. On Twitter, you can follow me at Maestro Styles. You can follow Trey at Barbershop SPOR2. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page and like the Facebook page as we put content on there quite regularly. Trey, what's going on, man?
Man, life's good, man. Can't complain. I do want to give a quick happy birthday shout out to one of our faithful listeners. Goes by the name of the Chief Rocker Jersey Vern, who just had his 60th birthday the other day. So just want to wish him a very happy, healthy birthday.
Yes,
shout out to you, Chief Rocker.
Yes, sir.
What's good? What's good, Maestro?
Hey, man, look, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm ready to talk a little bit of sports. I do want to say while we're giving out birthdays, a very influential person in my life. Happy birthday to Snoop Dogg, whose birthday is today. I don't know. He probably just as old as Chief Rocker. But happy birthday.
He's not that old.
I know. But yeah, shout out to Snoop. Happy birthday, Snoop. Yeah, man. I mean, look, it ain't really much. I ain't really got no whole bunch of cool intro stuff to talk about, man. I do. I guess to kind of break the ice. Let's call it that.
Let's do it.
So, I forget who tweeted this or posted this about the Titans' top 4 running backs. Their top 4 running backs are probably the best 4 in NFL history. Over history all time. Like they got the best 4, and in a trying to get a conversation started to create some content, I hit you and was like, what you thought about it, and you was like, well, yeah, he's whoever. I can't remember who posted it, but you was like, yeah, they're probably right. The Titans / Oilers 4 best running backs are probably the best running backs of all time. If you compare them team by team, there are 4 being Derrick Henry, Earl Campbell, Eddie George, and who am I forgetting?
Chris
Johnson. Yep, Chris Johnson. So, can I, like I said, like I told you offline, I was like, all right, well, let me see if I could come up with something to try to sway your opinion. Okay. So I did a little bit of research, and I'm not saying yes or no, but I'm gonna throw a couple of teams at you and see how you feel. All right. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams. Some of them I'm pretty sure you're not gonna feel that way, but some of them you might. So I'll just throw them out there. As of right now, whoever said that, I can't remember who said it. I agree that he is correct in his assessment, but like I said, I just want to try to see if I could sway you. First, the Indianapolis Colts. Their top
so you're
four.
Talking.
Don't worry, I got it. I got the list. The top four is Marshall Faulk, Eric Dickerson, Edgerrin James, and a guy by the name of Lydell Mitchell, who is the third leading rusher all time for the Colts. I get that he's not a popular name, but I put him there because he was third all time for the Colts.
Right. So here's my thing about that list with the Colts. So, and everybody knows Marshall Faulk was one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. I kind of see him more as a Ram than I do see him as a Colt.
Well, I got an interesting. I have him. I have Faulk on both teams because he was good on both teams, like really good on both teams. Like he's a top of both of those lists.
Okay.
For both of those teams, I mean. Okay. So no, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
Not better than the
not
Titans.
better than Titans Oilers. I got you. Okay. The Steelers. Franco Harris, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, and Le'Veon Bell. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of bias, but here's my argument that I'm going to make for the Steelers and I think one more team. The Titans and Oilers only have one. The Titans Oilers only have one running back all time that's over 10,000 yards for their career, and that being Eddie George.
Okay.
The Steelers.
What's Earl Campbell's numbers?
Earl Campbell he's somewhere in like 7,000, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he might have been more than that.
Nope.
Okay.
7,000. I ran into it.
But you did say he was. You did say he was with. He played with the Colts for a little bit, right? Earl Campbell, or did you say Eric Dickerson?
I was talking about Eric Dickerson or Marshall. I was talking about Eric Dickerson or Marshall Faulk. One of them.
Okay. Okay. Don't mind me. I was getting names mixed up.
Okay. So my argument for the Steelers is that Franco Harris and Jerome Bettis are over 10,000 yards for their career.
Okay.
Okay. Does that sway you?
No, it doesn't, man.
Doesn't sway you.
When you go to Willie Parker, and not that he was a bad running back. He was a really good running back for Pittsburgh. I just think when you compare not to hold you,
number 3 all time in Pittsburgh.
Number 3 all time in Pittsburgh.
Number 3 all time.
Man, I don't know, bro. I mean, talking about Earl Campbell, Eddie George, who is Eddie George in the Hall of Fame? Or
I would think he is, but I don't know. I don't know for certain. I didn't look that up.
Okay. Yeah, because to me, Eddie George is a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Okay. I don't know if he's made the ballot.
Okay, and obviously
since he retired, I don't know if it's for that.
Okay, so is Chris Johnson a Hall of Famer?
No, and that pains me to say it because you look at the 2,000-yard year he had, and I think that kind of does it for me when you compare these backs for the Titans franchise to what the Steelers have. I mean, you had a guy rush for 2,000 yards in a season, and I just want to go to the chat room for a minute here. Shout out to 334 Bama Boy. Shout out to Doc Bell ABM and Deacon Dell in the chat room.
What's happening?
ABM makes a great point. Chris Johnson was a flash in the pan, and Eddie George was mega soft when it counted. Okay,
interesting.
But I see your point, ABM, about Eddie George. But I mean, I think when you take the totality of these backs,
does anybody? And I'm not asking you. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted the chat room to let me know if any of these teams I named beat the Titans in orders. So this is kind of like I said, it's kind of like an icebreaker. So if you feel like they're not going, because like I said, when we talked about it offline, you seemed pretty confident that nobody's going to beat this.
I don't. Yeah, I was so confident that I didn't think there was another franchise out there that had a good maybe Mount Rushmore, because that's really what this is. This is
Mount
like
Rushmore, all time
of running backs
per team
within a particular franchise.
Yep.
So I didn't feel that way. But you bring the Pittsburgh situation up, and it's like, okay, Franco Harris, no doubt. Jerome Bettis the bust, no doubt. Le'Veon Bell.
Now let's be clear about Le'Veon Bell. He wasn't great. He wasn't there long enough to be great. Let's be very clear. His money grab, and I've been seeing this conversation a lot. This money grab he tried to get might have low key took him out of Hall of Fame conversation.
Missing the 1 year and then ending up with the worst franchise in the history of the sport. I mean they had something going. Let's be clear, they had something going in Pittsburgh with that offensive line and with Le'Veon Bell. And he kind of just threw that by the wayside to make some money. I ain't mad at him, by the way. I'm just saying that that's what he risked. That's what he bet on when he did that. Still, in my opinion, the top still is running back, but he didn't. I don't think he saw his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler out the way he should have, or the way I would like him to have. Right.
But, okay. Right. So let's move on. The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. What you got?
The Cleveland Browns have Jim Brown, Marion Motley, Leroy Kelly. Leroy Kelly, I know, like I said, I know he's a lesser known guy. And Ernest Biner. You remember Ernest Biner?
I remember Ernest Biner. I remember watching the YouTube video, the fumble at the goal line, Ernest Biner. But yeah, I remember.
You remember Cleveland Browns Ernest Biner or Washington Redskins Ernest Biner?
No, I watched clips of Cleveland Ernest Biner. He was great. He was great for the Cleveland Browns back in the day.
Yeah. That don't beat the Steelers.
The Browns versus the Titans. That's a tough one. I mean, Jim Brown was an all-time great. Marion Motley, and you kind of schooled me on Marion Motley.
Marion Motley was great
when we were doing that list a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass just because I don't know much about the other guy you mentioned.
Leroy Kelly.
Leroy Kelly. I don't know much about him, but Biner for certain, Jim Brown for certain, and Marion Motley. You schooled me to him. I'll take that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm picking them over the Titans though.
So nobody beating the Titans for you so far.
So far, no.
Okay.
No.
Buffalo Bills. Thurman Thomas, Hall of Famer, over 10,000 yards in his career.
Yep.
O.J. Simpson, Hall of Famer, over 10,000. Fred Jackson, who got a strong.
I remember Fred Jackson.
Fred Jackson got a strong 7,000, and a lesser known, but he's at like 5,000, I believe, if I remember right. Joe Cribbs.
Joe Cribbs. Yeah, that it's sort of similar to the Cleveland situation, right? So you got like two bona fide studs at running back in OJ and Thurman Thomas.
Yeah.
Fred Jackson was good for the Bills. I mean, I mean, he played when they were really like, because this is more recent. Like he played like in like the 2000s, like late 2000s or something like that.
Who you think had a better career, Chris Johnson or Fred Jackson?
Oh, Chris Johnson.
You think Chris Johnson had a better career?
Chris Johnson had a better career than Fred Jackson. Okay. It's just the 2,000 yards does it for me. I mean, when you one of
what if Fred Jackson did it for longer? What if I tell you Fred Jackson did it for longer and had more yards rushing?
I would probably tell you. I'm trying to think of what style Fred Jackson was. Fred Jackson was more of like that. He was more of a bruiser, wasn't he?
Yeah. If I had to compare him to anybody, just if you're making me freestyle it, he had more of a Frank Gore career, meaning he was a good back, and I don't even want to say that because Frank Gore, like he had, as far as I'm concerned, he had legendary status. If Fred Jackson would have played as long as Frank Gore, I feel like he would be up there as far as yardage with Frank Gore.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on this one too.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna pass on this one. Hey, while we got the chat room up and people's getting their insight in, ABM in the chat says he may be jumping the gun and stealing Maestro's thunder, but the Bears. So he's got the Bears list, and I don't know if you have.
I do have the Bears list, but they weren't my argument. But they're second to last. They're second to last in my argument.
Okay. I'm interested to see if you guys have the same list here. So
yes, we do have the same list. Yes, we got the same list. I won't.
Y'all do?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we got the same exact list.
No doubt.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Johnson, Christian Okoye, Jamal Charles,
right?
Priest Holmes.
Ooh. I think we got a candidate, bro. I think we got one, man.
I mean, as far as
so let's run that back. Let's run that back for a second. So Jamal Charles has what? He averaged 5.4 for his career per carry.
Mm-hmm.
He's at like the top when it comes to that particular stat.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamal Charles, he does it for me. Priest Holmes, no doubt, was a great running back for Kansas City back in the day. Christian Okoye, of course. Yeah, of course. You can't. He's a Hall of Famer, right? He's in the Hall, right?
I don't know. I'm going to say no though, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to say no, he's not.
Okay. Because I know the NFL Network had like a special on him.
Yeah, he was a dog. Years ago. He was a beast.
Yeah. Right. And then Larry Johnson, not to confuse him with Grandmama, but man, Larry Johnson.
He had a run.
He was that dude, man.
They overused him, but he had a run.
From like 04 to like 07, that he was that nigga, man.
Yeah.
He was that dude. I might put I might put the Chiefs right there with the Titans, man. As far as running backs go.
So far,
I might put them there.
So far, you got the Chiefs in competition, and that's it. The Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs in competition with the Titans.
Okay, yep. I just want to be clear on what
you convinced.
Okay,
you convinced me.
I just want to say, I know you're not necessarily saying you're taking the Chiefs over the Titans /Oilers. I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
I'm not taking them yet. But they definitely, I think they belong in this conversation, though. I think they do.
334 asks, what about Lynch at Buffalo? I put Marshawn Lynch in Seattle. I know Lynch Lynch flashed in Buffalo. I think he really became Lynch in Seattle. So that's why I put Lynch in Seattle.
You put him towards the Seahawk, right?
Right. And he didn't make this list for my for this conversation. And I see ABM. He was quick. Kurt Warner, Sean Alexander, Beast Mode, and Ricky Waters. Ricky Waters didn't rank higher because I looked at Ricky Waters for Seattle and San Francisco, and he wasn't. He was a good back. He didn't really he didn't rank higher when it comes, like, for instance, Steve Young had more rushing yards than Ricky Waters. all time as a San Francisco 49er.
That's crazy.
You know, so I mean,
that's crazy.
Now, in defense, I didn't look up how long Ricky Waters was a 49. Well, no, because it did it as a 49. They only recorded the website I went to only recorded what Ricky Waters did as a 49er. But I don't know how many years he was a 49er as opposed to how many years Steve Young was a 49er. So, but that's the Seahawks. That's why I didn't put the Seahawks to this list. Here is a wild card list, if you will.
Okay.
The New Orleans Saints. Deuce McAllister.
Right, so
Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
Mark Ingram. Mm-hmm. Dalton Hilliard.
Mm-hmm. Dalton Hilliard. Whew, I wish I knew a lot more about Dalton Hilliard.
Dalton Hilliard was a dog.
Man, how many years he spent there?
Dalton Hilliard. 5.
Okay.
5. I want to say.
What's his rushing yards for his career?
I didn't write all that down.
Okay. Okay.
He was top 4. He was top 4. He was top 4.
Okay. What makes him spectacular? Like, what's the one thing that jumps out to you when you talk about him?
Great runner. I mean, great runner. I don't pretend to know. Like, I can't tell you more about Dalton Hilliard than I can tell you about Deuce McAllister. But I know enough about. I've watched enough of it to just eye test. Like, I can't tell you what's the game that's like, oh, I knew Dalton Hilliard was that one. But we're talking about early 90s Dalton Hilliard. So,
right. I'm a pass.
Okay. The Rams. The Rams list goes Marshall Faulk, Eric Dickerson, Todd Gurley, Steven Jackson, who was the all-time leading rusher for the Rams.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you right now, had Todd Gurley not been cut from the Rams last year,
right?
I would put the Rams in the conversation with the Chiefs and the Titans. I really would, because look, Eric Dickerson, all-time great.
Yeah, and he did it on both teams.
All-time great.
Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk did it on both teams. I see 3
all-time greats.
I see 3, 3, 4.
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, Steven Jackson. Yeah, clearly.
Yep, clear. Todd Gurley, he had that 1 year, man, and it was a MVP candidacy type of year he had. But after that, man, it just the injuries.
Would you swap out Todd Gurley? Would you swap out Todd Gurley for Jerome Bettis? I think Jerome Bettis played with the Rams for like 3 years. Like, obviously his bread and butter was in.
Was it 3 years? I thought it was longer than that.
No, I don't think it was much longer. I think it was 3 years.
Huh. Okay.
Because he played for 10 in Pittsburgh.
Right. Well, if you swap him out, if you swap Gurley out for Bettis, then you know what? I might put the Rams in that conversation.
So far for you, the Chiefs and the Rams.
So Chiefs and the Rams in conversation with the Titans for.
I just want to say this to be clear: the Steelers are not in competition.
They're not in competition, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
Okay, and 334 confirms that it was 3 years.
Yeah.
It was with the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chicago.
You got another one?
Chicago. I got 2 more. Chicago. Walter,
the Bears, right?
Walter Payton. Over 10,000 yards, obviously Hall of Famer. Gale Sayers, rest in peace. Hall of Famer. Matt Forte and Neil Anderson, like ABM.
Right.
Put in the chat.
And Gale Sayers.
I said Gale Sayers. Yep. Gale, rest in peace, Gale Sayers.
Yeah. Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, no doubt, all-time greats. Matt Forte, excellent running back for all those years.
I mean,
he did everything.
He did his work in Chicago. Yeah.
He did his work, but I'm saying, like, he wasn't just like this every down back. Like, this dude was catching out the backfield and doing it, on both ends, receiving and running.
You said he wasn't an all down back?
I said he was. I said Matt Forte did it on both sides.
Got you.
Receiving and that the Bears have, to me, three strong, candidates
Neil
for
Anderson
Mount Rushmore of running backs.
Neil Anderson was a dog too, so
Was he?
I'll tell you YouTube Neil Anderson. I just say that YouTube Neil Anderson. I'm sure they got clips.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. For this sake, I'll leave the Bears off because I've yet to really get to know Neil Anderson and his running style and all that. I'll leave the Bears off, but the way you're talking about him, had I witnessed him, play, I may put them in the conversation.
Last team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Raiders.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Ezekiel Elliott, obviously. Emmitt Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Dorsett.
Mm-hmm.
And Calvin Hill.
Okay.
Calvin Hill, who I want to say is the late 70s, early 80s. He is number 3, I want to say, all time as a Dallas Cowboys running back.
Okay. And I ain't gonna front. For some reason I thought you was gonna slide in DeMarco Murray in there. But,
no. The only DeMarco Murray was up there in carries. The only thing I thought about was taking out Calvin Hill for Herschel Walker, but the only reason I didn't was because Calvin Hill was there longer, produced longer as a running back for the Cowboys. But I could have easily thrown Herschel Walker in there, and you would have said, that would have been an argument because the name Herschel Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to kind of throw the agenda on that.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna leave Dallas out.
Okay.
Obviously, Emmett and Dorsett. That's creme de la creme right there. Zeke, he's doing it now. Didn't have a good game last night, but we'll talk about that later.
Sure. So now, let me ask you right now. And obviously, I mean, Chris Johnson was with the Titans for what, about 5 years, maybe?
Like 5-6 years, something like that.
Ezekiel Elliott is about his 4th year. Who would you say
about his 4th, 5th year?
Who would you say is a better back?
I would say Chris Johnson.
You would say Chris Johnson
right now?
Okay.
Yeah.
I would go with Ezekiel Elliott, but okay.
Okay.
Because Ezekiel Elliott do it out the backfield. It's not that Chris Johnson doesn't. Ezekiel Elliott could be a wide receiver if it really came down to it.
I was going to say because Chris Johnson had some moments.
I don't know if Chris Johnson could be a wide receiver and go and flank out if it had to be that.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying he had some moments where you put him in space, he was going to do what he does. I mean, he used to make guys look foolish, in the flat. So,
but is he wasn't that power guy? He ain't got that power like Zeke though. No homo.
The power, no, I would agree there. Probably not the power, but certainly you could flank him out and he would, do something special.
ABM says add Bronco Nagurski to the Bears. I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, me neither. Speaking of Bronco, though, since we're talking about running backs, that this just kind of came to thought.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the Broncos running back.
Yeah, I couldn't. Let's be clear. I went from team to team and then started eliminating people like, oh, no, this, like, Terrell Davis, and then, I mean, look, Clinton Portis had, 2 or 3 years where he was good.
Mm-hmm. Travis Henry had a couple good years there, I thought.
They don't make this list.
Okay.
I mean,
that's sad what happened to Travis Henry.
The next guy you talking about is like Gary. What's the guy? Anderson. What's the Anderson for the? Was it Gary Anderson that played for the Broncos?
No, Mike Anderson.
Mike Anderson. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
I remember Mike Anderson.
He was actually like up there. Gary. I said Gary again. Mike Anderson was actually pretty high. But it was like, all right, you Mike Anderson, bro. Sorry, like no disrespect. It's like Terrell Davis and everybody else, respectfully.
Right. Okay. Nah, I brought the Broncos up because I'm like, wait a minute, because that system for so many years, I mean, that was just like a running back camp, but I guess to your point, it doesn't necessarily mean that they had, great, all-time greats.
All-time
They just
greats,
had a
right.
great system where the running back could, thrive. It didn't matter who it was.
Right. In Mike Shanahan's system, right.
Yep.
Somebody said the Raiders. The Raiders is Marcus Allen. For shits and giggles of names, you got to throw Bo Jackson in there, even though statistically, like all time, he didn't crack the top 4 all time. Bo Jackson,
Right.
but you got to put him in there. Bo Jackson.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I believe Darren McFadden was in the top 4. I don't want
Darren McFadden.
I don't want my computer to go crazy. I wanted to pull it back up, but I don't want my computer to start tripping. And who else? I forget who the 4th guy was, but it was just like Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, and it was like, all right, what are we doing after that?
Right.
So
who was the running back that was on that 02 Super Bowl team?
Your guess is good as
with
mine.
Rich.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Gannon,
about. I don't remember. Your guess was it Lamont? It might have was no. Lamont Jordan came after 02.
Yeah, he was after.
Yeah, shout out to Suitland Zone, Lamont Jordan. I can't remember. I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I'm thinking about that particular team, and I'm like, wait, they had a I thought they had a studded running back that year, or for that for that era that they was that they was good when Gruden was there.
I mean, it's kind of telling that we don't remember his name though.
Yeah, that's true. that is true.
All right.
So just to kind of recap, so the teams that could compare with the Titans as far as running backs, the Chiefs, and who else did I say?
You said
did I say the Rams?
You said the Chiefs and the Rams are the 2 teams you said.
Okay.
Because you said you did. Okay. You wasn't. I look for me. The Steelers have 2 Hall of Famers that's over 10,000 yards. I can't shit on that. The Cowboys have 2 Hall of Famers over 10,000 yards, and a guy that we believe, we don't know, we believe is going to be a Hall of Famer running back in Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
Even though right now I'm not high on Ezekiel Elliott right now this season for real. I'm not high on Ezekiel Elliott.
Right. I tell you what, you could say the same thing about the Colts. Then I mean, if we're just talking about just the 10,000 yard part, Edgar and James is over 10,000 yards, right?
No,
he's not. You sure about that?
Let me double check, but I don't think he is.
I don't know, bro.
I'm double checking on my phone. Colts all time leading rush.
Yeah, 12,246.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, I missed that when I was doing the work.
Yeah. Oh. So you're talking about Edgar and James, Marshall Faulk.
No, I got Edgar and James from 99 to 2005. I have 9,226 rushing yards. You talking about all purpose?
Oh, I'm talking about his career. I'm talking about rushing.
No, I'm talking about him on their specific teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about them on their specific teams.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, because
who did he go? Who did he go to?
He went to Arizona. The Cardinals, and where he got what we talking about 3,000 more yards for 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
And I think he might have been there longer than 2 years. So because I don't think he was rushing for. In fact, I'm sure he wasn't rushing for 1,500 yards in any of them.
I think he was on the Super Bowl team, the Cardinal Super Bowl team. I think, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But he was not. But he was not the. Yeah, Edgerrin James is the leading rusher. But their list goes. The Colts list goes. Edgerrin James, Lydell Mitchell with 5,400 yards, Marshall Faulk with 5,300 yards, and then Eric Dickerson with 5,100 yards.
Oh, okay.
And then you could throw guys in like Joseph Adai at like 4,400, but
Oh, yeah. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
just saying the Colts. Yeah, the Colts don't make the list. I mean, it's no other way.
Yeah.
I guess to put a close for me, and I think I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, man. Does Earl Campbell beat Jerome Bettis? I don't. I'm going to say no.
No, not when you tell me that Earl Campbell's career was cut short. So no.
Does Franco Harris beat Eddie George? I say yes. Now obviously, Derrick Henry obviously beats out Le'Veon Bell and Willie Parker. Early in his career.
Yeah,
but
right.
When you while Chris Johnson was the better, more explosive player, are we really willing to say? But let's be clear, Chris Johnson is better than Willie Parker. But Willie Parker,
I was just about to say that.
Willie Parker holds his own with Chris Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Chris Johnson would win.
Right.
But I don't know, the two Hall of Famers, that changes the narrative for me. The Cowboys changes the narrative for me. They got two Hall of Famers over 10,000 yards, and a guy that we believe is going to, be in that same ilk with Ezekiel Elliott. Matt Forte, I would take Matt Forte's Chicago career.
Mm-hmm.
Career, not highlights and highlights versus lowlights. I think I would take Matt Forte's career over Chris Johnson's career.
I could see that.
Walter Payton is better than all those Titans Oilers backs. That's not an argument. But and then Gale Sayers, I don't pretend to be super hip to Gale Sayers, like play for play. But I don't know. That's an interesting conversation to me too. But for me, and then OJ and Thurman.
Mm-hmm. Now Thurman rushed for 10,000 yards.
Yeah,
with the Bills?
Thurman is the leading rusher. OJ's number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah, I mean, no, you make a great point about 10,000 yards kind of being that threshold, and the fact that they did it with the same team. I think it's very, you can make a good case for that. Going back to the Oilers and Titans for a second, for me, and I know Chris Johnson was, or as ABM might call it, a flash in the pan, but I just think, man, it's just something about rushing for 2,000 yards in a season.
Well, why not put? Could you take out Ernest Biner or Leroy Kelly and put Jamal Lewis for the Cleveland Browns, and then this be a good conversation?
And that's the thing. Like, I don't see Jamal Lewis as a Cleveland Brown. I know he did pretty good that one year he was there after he left us, but he'll always be synonymous with the Ravens. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I do that. The argument's compelling though. Like the whole 10,000 yards with the same team. That's a pretty good argument. I don't think you're swaying me tonight. Maybe I think about it overnight, next few days, and maybe I might have a different thought about it within a week or two. We'll see.
All right. Well, let's talk. Let's talk the week in the NFL. Let's talk the week 6 in the NFL.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Let me just get this out the way. How you feel about last night's game, man? Look, I don't want to overreact, but I feel like Andy Dalton looked so bad that I want to overreact. But we can't believe that this is what he's going to do as the Cowboys starting quarterback this year, right?
It's believable, and Andy Dalton has had these kinds of games, particularly when the lights shine brightest. I mean, that's something they talked about on the broadcast last night, was that whenever this dude had a Monday night or a Thursday night game, this dude he wouldn't show up. Like he would just perform so badly. So yeah, I could believe that the rest of the way he'll have more games like this where he's just flat out terrible. Now, here's the thing: if you're Ezekiel Elliott, fumble twice
Yeah.
when this team is counting on you to be that go-to guy.
Right.
When things get down. You can't fumble the rock like that. And that game was under control. I mean, it was like a 0-0 ball game, but the Cowboys had
fumbles.
control of that game. And once those back-to-back fumbles happened and the Cardinals put points on the board following that, it's just hard to recover from that. Like you lose momentum, you lose rhythm.
Defense is tired.
Things like that. Yeah, defenses get dire. There's less hope throughout the game. The defense is there, like,
and they trash anyway. So it's like
right. So you're not giving your defense confidence if you're the offense and you loosey goosey with the rock. You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah, like you could. I mean, I could easily put that loss on Ezekiel Elliott, but I'm not going to do that because I think overall this is a total team loss. When you really look at it from beginning to end, this was just a team loss altogether. You could lump the coaches in with that.
Oh hell yeah, you can.
Huh?
I said hell yeah, you can lump the coaches in with this.
Yeah, you could lump the coaches in with that. Everybody. Blame goes on everybody.
Mike Nolan needs to go. Mike Nolan needs to be fired. He needs to go. He shouldn't have been hired. And I didn't realize how removed he was from the NFL. His last job was a defensive coordinator.
Right?
Was it the Niners? I'll say this. It was in 2014, and his defense was next to last in 2014.
Okay.
He hadn't had a job since then. And Mike McCarthy decided to hire this dude. And the knock, I didn't realize this was the knock on Mike McCarthy. The knock on Mike McCarthy is that he hasn't adjusted to how football has become. How the way the game is played now, and that's they say that's why they fired him in Green Bay. And so I guess the issue or the thing that everybody was wondering, or that football aficionados was wondering, was could he kind of revamp his style to play football in 2020. And the first thing he does is hire Mike Nolan, who has been a defensive coordinator since 2014 and had one of the worst defenses in the NFL that year. It's no surprise that now in this new age NFL that he still has the worst, or one of the worst, if not the worst, defense in the NFL.
It's the worst defense. It's the worst defense in the NFL. It's worse than the Jets, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah,
it's a worse defense than the Jets.
I don't know if they're the worst, but I know they're bad. They're bad. I know that.
This is what 30 points. 30
they're
points.
Averaging like
30 points a game.
They're averaging 36. They're giving them like 36 a game. But I don't think that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know for a fact, but I don't think that that's the league worst. I don't know for a fact though.
Well, you don't know. I think it is, bro.
Sure. I mean, it sounds that way. Yeah, I get it. It sounds that way.
I think it is. I mean, well, just to look at Mike Nolan's kind of background, just kind of going back to 2014. So he was the D coordinator with the Falcons that year in 2014. Mm-hmm. And after that, they let him go. And he was in San Diego as a linebackers coach for that 1 year in 15. Then he took a year off from football. Then came back to be the linebackers coach for the Saints from 17 to 19. And then he got this job with Dallas to run the defense.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. He hasn't been a coordinator of the defense since 2014.
Mm-hmm. Another takeaway, man. I didn't know who the hell this safety was, but this kid Buda Baker for the Cardinals.
Buda Baker, yeah.
I didn't know who this dude was. I normally try to watch games on mute so I could do other things, and and every time I look up, this dude's doing something like he's making plays. So then I come to find out that this dude is the highest paid safety in NFL history.
Buda Baker?
That's what they said on the broadcast.
The highest paid safety?
That's what they said on the broadcast, that he was the highest paid safety.
I thought Jamal Adams was the highest paid safety.
That joint said 4 years, 50, and I don't know what Jamal Adams' contract is. That joint said 4 years, $59 million.
I don't know about that, bro. I mean,
I might
I'll
have read it
fact check
wrong.
that.
I might have read it wrong, but if he is, he playing like it. That's for damn sure. But based on the game I just watched, he looked like a top. He looked like a top safety in the league, and I had never heard of him. And I know, obviously I don't watch a whole bunch of Cardinals games, but yeah, he official.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. Cardinals make Budda Baker highest paid safety in NFL history.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 years, $59 million. Oh, okay. And this was back in August.
Yeah, it just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a quiet signing then, because I had no idea.
I didn't know who the dude was. I didn't know who he was. Let me be very honest. I had no idea who Budda Baker was. So, like I said, I'm sitting here watching this game, and I'm like, yo, who is this dude making these plays? And when they they showed him sit on the bench, and they was like, they showed the numbers. I'm like, damn, like
yeah.
So
that's crazy.
For everybody
prior
like
to him getting that money, Kevin Byard with the Titans was making about $14 million before that contract.
Well, that makes sense because Kevin Byard, like they paid him on potential. He looked like he's going to be that dude.
Yeah, right.
I've seen Kevin Byard play. I know who he is. I had him this time last year when we do our rankings. I had him as a top safety in the game.
I did too.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So I need to watch some more Budda Baker, some more Cardinals, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. And I guess speaking of the Cardinals, I liked how Kyler Murray looked as far as the running game goes. He didn't do much, throwing the football. I didn't think he was all that great throwing the football, but making plays with his legs in those key moments, man, like that just killed the Cowboys, man. Because I mean, they couldn't tell what was coming every time they snapped the ball.
Man, they are missing Dak Prescott right now.
Mm-hmm. And every game like this that the Cowboys have moving forward, Dak Prescott gains more leverage, more each week, as long as this performance from the Cowboys continues to happen. Jerry Jones has no choice now in the matter. And I know that some people are going to say, well, yeah, he does. He could just not give him the money. Okay, sure. He could just not give him the money. But where else you going to find another quarterback at this point?
I don't know, man.
Where else you gonna get another quarterback? I mean, come on.
I remember having this conversation when Andy Dalton got signed, and we were saying something to the effect of, if God forbid something happens to Dak and Andy Dalton plays decent football,
right,
there's a conversation that could be had about, let's save the money and build around a team. If we got a Andy Dalton who could play, I don't know, top 15 quarterback, top 18 quarterback with this roster, that the Dallas Cowboys would still be in decent shape. And it comes to find out that Andy Dalton don't look like he playing no top 15 football this year.
Nah, that was a terrible performance last night, bro. And the NFC East is still trash.
Yeah.
It's amazing that the Dallas Cowboys are at top of the division at 2-4. And really, a lot of this has to do with the fact that they're playing the two toughest divisions in football. It's the AFC North and it's the NFC West. And legitimately, between those two divisions, there's 7 teams that look like they go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's 7 teams.
Yeah.
Of 7 out of 8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That the NFC East got to go see. That's crazy. Like, the more I look at the performances of these teams, the more I'm starting to believe it could be 6-10 that wins this division, bro.
I know you keep saying that. I just can't believe that.
The performances that I keep seeing, bro.
I mean, look, the Cowboys still got to play the Redskins twice. And granted,
they're gonna play each other. They're gonna play each other. I mean, let's be honest. All these teams, the Giants, the Eagles, they're all gonna play each other. They're all gonna beat each other up. I don't know that anybody comes out of that with like 4 wins within the division. Like I can't see nobody going 4-2 in the division.
Yeah, maybe. But you could also, Dallas should be able to beat Cincinnati.
Of course.
They should.
I mean, all those teams should be able to beat Cincinnati. The Eagles split with them. They tied with them.
They tied with them, right.
Right. So you never know.
Well, I don't know if the football team can beat them, but speaking about teams that actually got a chance to win in the division, I mean, like you said, the Eagles tied with them. The Cowboys should be able to beat. You would think they should be able to beat the Bengals.
Yeah, they should be able to beat the Bengals.
I still got Dallas going 8-8 and winning the division, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I'm concerned about my pick being right.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I gotta correct myself because I know we talked a couple weeks ago where we said who we picked to win the NFC East. I said I picked the Eagles. I was incorrect about that. I actually picked the Eagles to make a wild card, not necessarily win the NFC East. I did pick Dallas to win the NFC East. This 8 wins, man. I don't know.
I can't see. Well, I would tell you this. I would what's the word? Compromise on 7 wins. There's no way they're winning on 6 wins. That won't happen. I can't see that happening.
So here's the schedule. Here's the schedule.
For who?
So they're playing the football team next week. For Dallas.
Okay.
They're playing the football team.
You
would think they would get a win there, right?
I must call that a win.
Okay, so that puts them at 3 wins. So they go to Philly to play the Eagles. I don't know that they're going to beat the Eagles in Philly.
I don't know that either.
I think when it's all said and done, I think they split.
Okay, I agree with that.
I think they split. So I'll give them an L right there. They play the Steelers. That's an L.
That's an L.
That's an L. They go to Minnesota to play the Vikings, and the Vikings look terrible themselves, but who knows?
Who knows? Who the hell knows?
Kirk Cousins could go off in this game. Like
he's becoming a lot like Ryan Fitzpatrick nowadays, though.
He has. But when you look at this Cowboys defense, Kirk Cousins could have one of those days.
I'll give it to Minnesota. I'll give that to Minnesota.
Right. Okay. So they play the football team again. I'll give them a win there. So that's 4 wins right there.
You got the Cowboys sweeping the football team.
Yeah, I think they sweep the football team.
I think they split.
Especially if they think they're gonna keep Kyle Allen at quarterback.
Maybe. I'll say they split. This is the year that they'll split.
Okay. Okay. So they play the Ravens. That's an L.
That's an L.
They play the Bengals. They should be able to.
Beat the Bengals. Yeah.
They should be able to beat the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow might go crazy in this one too. He might go crazy, but I think Bengals defense ain't that great either. So I'll give them a W there. I'll give them a W. Niners.
That's a loss. That's a loss. Jimmy Garoppolo looked like he's trying to get back to
I was gonna say
that's a loss.
That might get L.
Yeah,
then you got the Eagles again. And I think they split. I think they split.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give them the win there, and then they close at the Giants. I could give them a win there. So what's that? That's 7.
7, I think. Yeah, I think that's. I think I'll be honest. I lost count. I think it's 7.
Oh, wait a minute. So 2 against Washington. So that makes it 4 wins plus the Bengals. That's 5. The Giants 6. So I got them at 6 wins.
Okay.
I got them at 6 wins.
I won't.
I know you differ with me with the football.
I just can't see right. So to my count, I got it at 5. I get what I'm saying. I don't know where the wins are coming. I can't see it because if that's the case, then the Eagles are winning the division. I can't see a 6-win team making the playoffs. I can't see it. And let me say this: if that happens, if a 6-win team goes to the playoffs, the NFL definitely has to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, how do we prevent this from happening again? You can't have a 6-win team in the playoffs. You can't do it.
You can't have them hosting a playoff game.
Right.
For
Right.
that matter.
Right.
Yeah. You
Can't
have
happen.
them do that.
Can't happen.
Yeah.
Can't happen.
Because you know what that means. That means somebody out there's got a 10-6 record and probably not making the playoffs.
Right.
Even with this new format with 7 teams going in,
exactly.
You might have a team go 9-7. Hell, you might have a team go 8-8
and don't make it. I got a problem with that.
Right. And then the division winners got 6 wins. I got to pull up this Eagles schedule real quick, though. I'm not going to go through the whole schedule. I'm just going to point out 5 particular games on the Eagles schedule, and these are 5 games in a row that the Eagles got to go through that I think is going to be a challenge for them, right? So you ready for this one?
Yep.
All right, so this is going to be mid-November. This is where this tough stretch starts for the Eagles. At Cleveland. Got the Seahawks.
They could beat Cleveland. Not because I think, and I know you've been, you kind of spoke highly of Cleveland last week. And I don't think they're in trouble because they got blown out by Pittsburgh. I still think they'll be okay in the scheme of,
I don't think they're in trouble either.
Yeah. But I think the Eagles with their pass rush could beat the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Home against the Seahawks.
Loss.
At the Packers.
Eagles. I'm gonna say loss right now, but I'll say loss right now.
Home against the Saints.
Loss.
At the Cardinals. And
they could win that game.
They could win it.
I'll give that to the Eagles.
Okay. I agree with you that they can win that game, but I also think, especially if this Cardinal team starts to ascend, that could be trouble for Philly.
Sure.
Late in the season.
Sure.
That could be some trouble there. So that's a tough stretch for Philly right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and I'm sure if I pull up the Giants schedule and the Redskins, the football team. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because we know who they got.
It's going to be some of the same.
Yeah.
It's going to be some of the same thing.
Yeah.
They got to play the NFC West. They got to play the AFC North.
Right.
It's going to be tough. I think somebody's got. I think the Cowboys got to play the somebody's got to play the Buccaneers. I don't remember who it is, but somebody's got to play the Bucks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the NFC East, I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna be somebody goes 6-10. They're gonna win the division crown, playoff game, and they're gonna get their ass smacked in that first round.
Yeah, 6-10 bugs me. I hear you though. That bugs me though.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Do you want
the NFL's got to do something about it.
Speaking of the NFC and the East, do you want to talk about how the Eagles gave y'all a run for y'all money Sunday?
Yeah, man. We looked so good in that first half, and then we just had some drives stalling in that second half, bruh. Like, it was just 3 and outs galore. I mean, and then we just let the Eagles back into the football game. I don't know what they were doing as far as that 2-point conversion. Like that, I thought that was a bad play call on the Eagles' part. I mean, we kind of sniffed that out right away, and kept them from tying that football game. But yeah, that game should have never been. Is that the
the 2-point conversion? Is that the play where Carson Wentz ran an option and with Scott? Yeah, that was a terrible play call.
Yes,
that was just a bad play call.
Yes,
that was a terrible play call.
Bad, yeah. Bad play call. We sniffed that out really early there. So, we escaped with the win there, but I tell you, the Ravens didn't look like themselves. And really, quite frankly, for about 3 weeks, I would say, we haven't really taken off yet. Mm-hmm. Really, like what we were last year. We really haven't seen that yet. Yeah. So, I don't want to say I'm worried because I still think we're a playoff team.
Right. Yeah.
I still think the division is ours. Right. I still think the division is ours.
I don't feel that way. But
it's just that when we start to play these teams that are coming up, you know what I'm saying, in the schedule, we can't sleep on the Titans. You know what I'm saying? We can't sleep on Pittsburgh. We can't sleep on these teams. And hell, we can't sleep on Cleveland the second time around.
Right.
So, we got the bye week. It's time for them to, get some things straightened out. Figure out, what's the deal? Like, is Greg Roman trying to, go for a head coaching gig? Is that why he's calling all these pass plays? What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need to call pass plays to get a job, Greg Roman. Like your offense from last year speaks for itself. You don't need to do that. So they need to get things straightened out.
But I always I always think about that playoff game against the Titans last year when Lamar Jackson was throwing for his life.
That's where they was like, okay, we're just gonna throw, and I'm like, no, that's not how we got here. Yeah. It's not how we got here. So but I mean, a win's a win. 5-1
every day of the week.
No doubt. I'm sitting pretty good, man. So the Steelers. I didn't expect the game to actually go the way it did score wise. Mm-hmm. I thought the Browns would actually be a little more competitive, putting some points on the board. But it was clear to me that they were not going to run on Pittsburgh. Like that wasn't going to be the way the Browns were going to win this football game. It was going to have to be on the arm of Baker Mayfield. And right now, Baker just doesn't. I don't think he's a very good quarterback right now.
Well, nobody was saying Baker Mayfield wasn't a good quarterback when they beat up on Dallas. I don't remember who they played the week after Cleveland. Everybody
played the Colts.
They
played the Colts,
which was a good defense.
Yep.
Everybody. I'll say this. The Mike Tomlin made it his point to mention that they have the number one rushing offense in the league, and that we have the number 2 rushing defense in the league. And if we were going to beat the Cleveland Browns, it was going to be because we stopped the run. Period.
Right.
We are putting together a resume in Saquon Barkley week 1. The Cleveland, this Cleveland situation last week, and obviously we got Derrick Henry Sunday. I'd say we ready for the challenge. That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
In reference to the Browns, like I said, they're not in trouble. They're what I believe their projections to be. They're still in line with those projections. Particularly with having to play the NFC East and the in the West, like they're fine. They're just fine. But anybody that thinks this is a step up for the Browns, but anybody thinking they was going to be anything better than a playoff, a wild card team, you just you missing it. Like that ain't what's going to happen. Baker Mayfield is a regular quarterback.
Right.
He's a regular quarterback. He's a 15 to 20 guy.
Yep. And you're talking ranking, right?
When you ranking. 15 to 20 guy, yeah.
Yep.
He's a 15 to 20 guy.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think the Browns, and they did get a quality win against the Colts the other week.
Yeah.
So I got to give them some credit for that.
Let's be very clear. They were on a 4-game winning streak after they lost week 1 to Baltimore. Yep. Let's be very clear.
Yep. No question. Beat a good Colts team. Dallas, I think we know at this point, as far as defensively, they're terrible. But like I said last week, they were in a couple of games where that lead was getting cut short, and we know in the past, those Browns teams would fold in those situations, and they held on.
Yeah.
They held on against Dallas. They held on against the Colts, and that's why I think I'm starting to lean towards them, being a playoff team this year.
Right.
Now the schedule has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Their play has a lot to do with
it
too.
I'm about to say they're playing good football. Like, I don't want to say like they got blown out by Pittsburgh, but it's not a lot of teams, not a lot of defenses that's going to shut that run down like that. So I don't want to sit here and act, I don't want to sit here and act like, oh, they in trouble or they not who we thought they were because they got blown out by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh took what they wanted to do away, and they're probably the best team at doing it. I don't care who the number one rushing team is. I feel like what I watch with my eyes, Pittsburgh is the best rushing defense in the league. Period.
That's probably a good loss for Cleveland. I wouldn't say that's a bad loss.
If you had to define a good loss, which I don't like that term, good loss, but if you had to define it, that was it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I want to talk about the Titans for a minute. Yeah, what's up, Mocha? Appreciate you. I want to talk about the Titans now because I think I'm starting to get sold on this team also. I remember we did our top 5 teams in the AFC, and I don't think neither one of us had the Titans in our top 5. Right. I don't think. But after looking at what they did to Buffalo the week before, and now, this past week against, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say the Texans are a good team. I just think defensively, they got some issues defensively, but anytime you got Deshaun Watson, you're always going to have a chance in a football game to win.
Right.
That was impressive by the Titans on Sunday, to go up by as many as I think 14 points and then actually blow the lead. Actually, the Texans take the lead, and then they send that game to overtime, and then, Derrick Henry wins it in overtime for them.
Yeah.
That Derrick man, Henry. 200 plus yards rushing. I think he had like 264 scrimmage.
Yep. 264 scrimmage.
Yeah. It is time. It is time now to start having this conversation about MVP candidacy for Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It really is.
Where you rank him now?
As far as the MVP race?
Yeah.
I think he's number 2.
Number 2?
I think he's a distant number 2 from Russell Wilson. I think he's distant because when it comes to running backs, and historically, when those guys have won MVP awards, they touchdowns. Like, you go back to LaDainian Tomlinson, I think he had 31 touchdowns that year in 06.
Right.
I think Sean Alexander with the Seahawks a couple years prior to that, I think he had like touchdowns in like the high 20s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adrian Peterson with the 2,000 yards. Now, I don't think he scored a lot, but, getting that 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And putting that team on his back that year after coming off that injury warrants the MVP in that regard.
Right.
I would love to see Derrick Henry score more to help solidify a stronger case for MVP. But I do think right now he's number 2 in that regard. But I think he's a distant number 2.
Okay. So Aaron Rodgers is 3. What does he
Aaron
go after
Rodgers
this
right
terrible
now is
loss?
number 3.
I'm about to say, what does he go?
Yeah. He lost that game. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers lost that game for the Packers against Tampa.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's number 3 for me right now. And let's face it, the Titans, they undefeated, bruh.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that going into week 6, week 7, they would be undefeated. I mean, I had this team as a wild card. Now I'm starting to think they gonna win the South. Yeah, I'm starting to think they're gonna win the South now.
I'm sold they're winning the South. I don't think it's no coming back. I don't know. I mean, I guess the Colts are in the conversation, and Phillip Rivers is off a good game this week.
Yep.
But I don't see nobody. Because let's be clear, Tannehill and let's be, I get it. The stats don't lie. I still don't believe this dude when it really matters. But right now, when it, while the shit ain't hit the fan yet, he's dominating.
Mm-hmm.
He's dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Like why?
Yeah, I wouldn't classify it as dominating so much. I would just say that Ryan Tannehill is playing some good football right now. 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That Bama threw for 364 and 4 touchdowns the other day.
Yeah. He did. I would just say he's playing some good ball right now. And to the people on TV that are trying to put him in this MVP conversation, I don't see it. I don't see it because when you think of the Tennessee Titans, you think of Derrick Henry first. Before you even mention Ryan Tannehill's name.
But can you be so good that you get, or can there be two team members in the MVP race on an NFL football team?
That's a very good question. I don't think we've ever had co-MVPs on.
No. All I'm talking about is candidates. All I'm talking about is candidates right now. So right now, I'm just talking about candidates. Right now, would you? Let me just ask the tough questions. And right now, would you put Tannehill over Aaron Rodgers? Right now, week 6.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I have people that would. I have people that beg to differ. I'm not saying it's me. I haven't thought about it. I'm just asking the tough questions.
Sure. I think there's an argument that some people wouldn't put him over Josh Allen. And Josh Allen didn't have a good game yesterday.
Tannehill hasn't had
I don't agree with that, but
I don't know because Tannehill hasn't had a bad game. Tannehill hasn't had a bad game.
No, he hasn't.
Now let's be clear.
He hasn't had a bad game.
He hasn't had a stat. Josh Allen stats when Josh Allen was throwing for 450 and 5 touchdowns. He hasn't had that. But let's be clear. Josh Allen laid an egg 2 weeks in a row right now.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, and when you get those losses, the timing of when you get those losses matter.
Yeah,
and he's on a 2-game losing streak right now.
But for me, it's not even the losses. It's the fact that he laid eggs in those losses. These are 2 straight eggs.
Yeah,
I got Tannehill over Josh Allen. I got Tannehill over Josh Allen, and I don't like Tannehill.
Okay. Yeah, I can't argue, bro. I mean, I'm just pulling some of these numbers here just this year so far. Versus Jacksonville, 239, 4 touchdowns. Against Denver, 249, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that wasn't a great game, but he didn't turn the ball over. Minnesota, he wasn't all that great. He threw for a lot, 321, but had the 1 interception. But I mean, really, when you look at the numbers overall,
can I just say, anytime, in my opinion, unless we can confirm that it was garbage time, any quarterback that throws over 300 yards didn't have a bad game.
Okay,
that's just my threshold.
Okay. I said that because he didn't throw no touchdowns.
Okay,
that's kind of why I said that.
Okay,
because he didn't score. Okay, so there you have that. But I mean, when you total all the stats up to this point, those are some pretty good stats. And anybody that says that Ryan Tannehill is a bum at this point, it's like, yo, you're not watching football right now. Yeah. I mean, yes, I understand that Derrick Henry
plays a huge part in it.
Plays a huge part of it. I mean, you're talking 8, 9 guys in a box. You're talking one-on-one coverage, and look, Tannehill's hitting those guys.
Yeah.
AJ Brown, Humphreys.
Yeah.
That tight end, New Smith, who got injured, by the way.
Yeah.
He's hitting those guys.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys with that kind of talent that don't normally hit those guys, i.e. Andy Dalton the other night. But I'm not gonna go there. But you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Tannehill, as long as Derrick Henry is stirring the drink, Ryan Tannehill, he's going to play good football.
Well, you would hope. You would hope. Let me say that. You would hope.
Sure. But so far, so good.
Yeah. He's in the candidate. He's in the
so
candidacy. He's in the candidacy for me. Ryan Tannehill is in the candidacy. If I had to rank, Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, I'm gonna put Pat Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers right now.
Okay.
Okay. And then maybe Ryan Tannehill. Unfortunately, we gotta take Dak out. I mean, if right now Dak was healthy, I would have Dak at 5. But no, I would have Dak over Aaron Rodgers. I'm lying. I would have Dak over Aaron Rodgers. Hell, I would have Dak at number 3 right now. I would have, for me, if Dak was healthy, it'd be Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, Dak, and then Mahomes, and then Tannehill. But Tannehill's in the conversation. I don't know how long it'll last, but right now he's in the conversation at week 6.
Okay. I mean, we differ. I'll say we differ a bit there, but I'm not going to go
top 10.
Bum and
Is Tannehill top 10 in the race? If we compile the MVP list in 10 players, which nobody does, but if we did that, would he be top 10 in the MVP race?
Top 10 in the MVP race.
Let me make it more interesting. Would it be 7?
Yeah, I'd have to think about that one.
Okay.
Because I've kind of put him like just ranking quarterbacks right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got him like number 11. I got him number 11, 12 in that range.
Do you really?
Yeah, I kind of got him in that range. Obviously, Pat Mahomes, Dak, before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I'll throw this guy's name out there. I throw Ben Roethlisberger in there. I think Ben Roethlisberger has played some good football too, through 5 weeks. I'm missing somebody. No, I'm not putting Brady's name up there. I'm not
really?
doing it.
You're not putting Brady?
Brady? Nah. In the top 10 right now, I don't know if I'm doing that. Josh Allen, I think, is in the top 10.
Through week 6. So through week 6, hold on. I want to be clear. Through week 6. So these 2 eggs that Josh Allen laid are in this conversation. Josh Allen is playing better football than Tom Brady?
Well, not right now, but I'm talking about that warrants him being off the top 10 list.
Well, you just said you had Josh Allen in your top 10 list.
No, I said I don't think that warrants him. I don't think the 2 losses should kick him out of the top 10 is what I'm saying.
I think they do, considering with the 2 weeks that Tom Brady just had.
Would you consider those? I'm sorry,
not the 2 weeks. Not the 2 weeks, because that's when the week before last, Tom Brady had that little 4th down thing. But definitely beating Green Bay. But definitely beating Green Bay just now in the way they did that. Mm-hmm. That for me, that puts Tom Brady in their top 10 quarterback right now.
Well, let's see. 14. Okay, you know what? Okay. I'm just looking at some numbers here real quick. Okay, I'll put Tom Brady in there.
Okay.
I'll put Tom Brady in there, but I think Dak goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Josh Allen's in there. I think Pat Mahomes is in there. I think Tom Brady, Russell Wilson. I'm just looking at some other guys here. I mean, his team isn't playing well, but Deshaun Watson's numbers aren't bad.
Yeah, but his team playing bad. Like, they're playing bad. I can't put Deshaun Watson in there right now. I can't put him in there right now. It ain't his fault,
though. That's the thing. It's not his fault. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you could say it's not his fault, but he quarterbacks, black, white, or indifferent, because I already see where this conversation might go. Black, white, or indifferent, quarterbacks play a role. They have the ball. They play a role.
They definitely play a role.
I think this is I don't put Deshaun Watson in my top 10. He's 1-5. Nah, he don't. Nah.
So we going by record.
that plays right now. That plays a role. I'm sorry, I can't put no 1-5 team
Okay.
quarterback. I can't do it.
Would you say Lamar Jackson is in the top 10 right now?
Right now, I think by default I would put Lamar Jackson there. He's not
Okay.
wowing. He's not wowing.
Okay.
He's not wowing nobody. But he's
because he's definitely not wowing.
He's running the course. He's
definitely not wowing.
He's running the course though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just looking at teams that's undefeated, 5-1, 4-1. I'm just looking at teams like that. Would you say Jared Goff is in the top 10?
No. Not again. He's not wowing.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree with you there. I don't think he is, and I do want to dissect the Rams a little bit here because I think the Rams are a fraud. I said I didn't like this team coming into the season, and they won some games. I think there was 4-1 before Sunday's game, but I gotta tell you, bro, when you play the NFC East, right?
Yeah,
I don't think people realize the Rams have played the entire NFC East.
Yeah,
and that's why they got the 4 wins.
Well, didn't they beat? Oh, Buffalo beat them, right?
Yeah, Buffalo beat them,
right?
And they got screwed on that call at the end of that game. I will say that, but yeah, they lost to Buffalo and they just lost to this Niners team. So.
Good point.
That's a good point. I'm giving the Rams the side eye.
Yeah.
Like you 4-2, but I don't know about you now because
that's a good point.
So we gonna wait and find out about this team because they still got to play Seattle twice. Mm-hmm. They still got to play the Cardinals twice. They got to see San Fran again. They got to play the Bucks. They got to play the Bears. So let's find out what these Rams is about. Well, I'm not a believer right now.
Let's be clear. I didn't have them going to the playoffs or nothing anyway. So
me neither. So this could just be a fraud, in the making. So, how you feeling about this? So Tua's gonna get the start in Miami moving forward. They just announced it earlier today. They got the bye week coming up this week. Prep for the Rams. I think the Rams are going to Miami in week 8, I think. And this is after coming off of 2 wins. They basically crushed the 49ers the week before, and then they get this win this past week against the Jets. And at this point anybody could beat the Jets at this point. But coming off those 2 victories, they make the change at quarterback. I'm interested to hear how you feel about that. So
I think that this will be a integral moment in Brian Flores' career. Look, Ryan Fitzpatrick, for all intents and purposes, had them on a streak, had them on a run, and the idea, that whole ideology of keep staying with the hot hand comes into effect. So I don't know what happened. I don't know why this move is peculiar. I'm with it, though. Let's be clear. I'm with it. It's not how I saw him getting on the field, but I'm with it. Like, hey, it's your number 1 pick. Let's see what you got. Ryan Fitzpatrick, we know he's not the answer. Like, what do we really have to lose? But I'll say this. He's going to Brian Flores as a black coach in his 3rd year. He's going second year. Okay. He's going to look a little funny in the light if Tua comes out and doesn't do well and for some reason has to go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, I hope that don't happen, and I don't think that's going to happen, but it's going to. But the fact that you ran what seems to be randomly just went from Fitzpatrick to Tua after you put Tua in after the game was out of reach. He completed 2 passes. Like, let's be clear. He didn't do nothing crazy in his time. I mean, not that he even had much time to do nothing crazy, but to this after seeing that, and then you say, you know what, let's throw him in there. That is at bare minimum. That's you scratch your head like, what is he doing? Like, what? Why now? Why now? If Ryan Fitzpatrick just got finished being a part of the blowout of the San Francisco 49ers, and Ryan Fitzpatrick played a role in, was the guy who got you past the Jets, even though that's not really a team to speak of. Those 2 straight wins, you ride the hand that's hot. But in today's NFL, Tua is the prototypical quarterback in 2020 NFL. So roll your prototype out. I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. I just hope it works out.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, it's funny you said that, because I remember our conversation about how Tyrod lost the starting job with the Chargers, and you made the point to say, hey, maybe they just felt like they just wanted to get Justin Herbert onto the field. Like they just felt like they needed to get the guy on the field.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Dolphins feel the way you probably thought the Chargers felt about Herbert.
Well,
they just want to get Tua on the field.
Well, here's my problem with that. Even though Justin Herbert, let's be clear, Justin Herbert's balling, Joe Burrow is balling. Miami probably sees that those 2 rookies are balling. Let me get my rookie in here and see what's happening.
Right.
What do you call it? Hot take. If Aaron Rodgers plays bad football for 3 weeks, do we see Jordan Love?
No, hell no.
Hot take. Anyway,
of course not. But just to finish my point here for a second, I don't have a problem with your point about what the decision Miami made to do that.
I just want to be clear on what my issue in San Diego was, or LA now was. My issue is one, you benched a capable. He got his lungs punctured, and then Justin Herbert. I don't like that he lost his job on a team mistake. They hurt Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor's not gonna get his job back because of it. I know we spoke about the conspiracy theory that they do it on purpose, and I don't believe they did that. Let me just be honest. I don't believe they did that. So, but at bare minimum, I don't like the fact that they could be neglectful and cost the man his job. And now Justin Herbert is balling. And let's be clear, at the rate he's going, Tyrod Taylor's not coming back unless it's an injury.
Yeah, right.
So there's that. With the Miami situation, though, I'm totally with you benching the old white man that what his ceiling is. I'm okay with that. I just do also acknowledge that it's a head scratcher that the guy who he just got you 2 games straight. That is a head scratcher.
Like what changed, right? What changed?
That is a head scratcher. But I'm with it. Let Tua play.
Yeah, I'm with it too, man. I think this is the perfect time to pull Ryan Fitzpatrick from this situation, because we've seen him over the years. He can be streaky. He can give you a hot run for a few games, and that dude will give you some cold games in a stretch in a heartbeat. I remember when he was with the Jets that year. It was the year that y'all got in the playoffs because the Jets kind of stubbed their toe the last week of the season. It was 2015. It was the Jets. They had Brandon Marshall. They had Eric Decker. Ryan Fitzpatrick had like the year of his life. Like I think he had like 35 touchdowns and 12, 13 interceptions. It was like his best statistical season in his career for the Jets. And the moment that they need that guy to come through week 17 for a playoff berth on the line, that dude, he crumbled. He went back to being Ryan Fitzpatrick. So for me, and I'm a little biased here because this was one of my teams. This was one of my dark horse teams to make the playoffs in the AFC because of the 7th playoff spot. I said the Dolphins would find a way to get one of those spots.
Right.
I thought at some point we was going to see Tua in the season. Right. So now here's this opportunity. You get this fresh young blood coming in, and to me, that's going to give the team energy, in my opinion. I think the fact that you got this first round pick, he's now going to be a starter. He could potentially do a lot more things than Ryan Fitzpatrick can do, and I think this is the beginning of the start to my prediction coming true, that the Miami Dolphins are going to find a way to get one of those wild cards in the AFC. And to be honest with you, a conversation is probably going to have to be had about this division, the AFC East, also, because you look at it right now. You talked about it earlier. You're talking about the Bills coming off of 2 straight losses, albeit against good teams, by the way. I don't want to, act like Buffalo had bad losses in there. Those were some good losses for the Bills.
I don't want to keep saying that term because here's the thing.
No, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. But if it's anybody that, you have to lose to, Titans, Chiefs, you're talking about an undefeated team, and then you're talking about the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like if this was the Jets, I'd be looking at the Bills like, yo, something's wrong with you right now. Like, I would seriously do that. But you got that, and now you got the Patriots, looking like, and I called that, by the way. I just wanted to throw that in there. I called the Broncos upset of the Patriots on that one. But yeah, the Patriots, they're 2-3 right now, and I'm trying to get a feel for what the Patriots are.
Well, let's be clear, man. They've had like 2 practices in like 3 weeks. They've had to shut down the facility like twice in 2 weeks for like 2 or 3 days.
Didn't the Titans do the same thing though?
Yeah, but the Titans ain't the Patriots. The Patriots ain't the Titans. Is the more appropriate term. Let's be clear. They don't have They don't have the talent. They don't have the talent. They don't have the talent. Their quarterback. Their quarterback.
That's more like.
Yeah, they don't have the talent. Their quarterback is coming off the Rona, and he just started playing for the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? Off an injury.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm shooting the Patriots a little bit of bail right now in terms, and I still got them winning the East. I'm shooting them bail right now. And Cam already came out like, yeah, don't worry. Like, let's be clear, we haven't had time to work in the past 2 weeks. They haven't had time to work.
Okay. I just don't want to I don't want to accept that excuse when there were other teams that had outbreaks. The Titans had an outbreak. They didn't just have 1 or 2 guys get the Rona. They had an outbreak and they had to shut down.
They shut down once. They shut down once, and then they had that week to prepare. The Patriots shut down twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, they had last week. They had the one game postponed to like a Monday, right?
And they shut down the facilities, right? They shut down the facilities, and then they shut down the facility. That was 2 weeks ago. This past week, they shut down facilities. I believe on Thursday. If I got the information right, they shut it down again last Thursday.
Right. And they had the week off last week, right? They had a bye unexpectedly, right?
Unexpected bye, right?
Okay, yeah. I don't know if I could buy that argument, like that excuse. And if you're talking about the facility being shut down,
meaning they haven't had time to practice, meaning they haven't had time to have the meetings and the conversations and those things that other teams have had, had the opportunity to have.
I would lean more towards what you said as far as the team not being as talented than the Titans. I would lean more towards that because let's face it. You look at the offensive weapons for the Patriots; it's not really that great.
Yeah.
So yeah. The AFC East. If you're the Miami Dolphins and you're looking at your standings and you're 1 game away from first place, I like the move, bro. I think they smell some blood in the waters, man, and they think, okay, we got this kid. He's gonna give us energy. Let's make the move now. Because we know when it counts the most, when the pressure's on, Ryan Fitzpatrick ain't gonna show up for you. He's proven that already throughout his entire career. So give the kid a shot. Let's move on. Let's make it official. I'm down with Brian Flores and what he's doing. So.
Right.
And off this move, I hope they make the playoffs. I'm gonna just say that.
Of course you did. You predicted them to make that, so of course you hope they make it.
Yeah. So,
any other headlines in the NFL we need to talk about?
Nah, I said I'm good, man. As far as NFL goes.
Well, I don't know how much you have on the recent coach hirings, but for certain, congratulations to Ty Lue on the Clippers job. I don't know. I know you just said that you told me another team filled the position. It was the Pelicans, you said?
No, the Pacers.
The Pacers.
Yep.
Was he black?
No, he's not black.
Okay.
He's not black.
Boo.
However, because we have conversations about recycled coaches, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Recycled white coaches. We have conversations about that.
This is new blood.
This is new blood.
Okay.
So this guy's name, Nate Jorgen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was on the Raptors coaching staff for about 2-3 years under Nick Nurse. They won the title last year, and so this guy's finally getting an opportunity to coach a basketball team in the NBA. I started to look up some like what he did previously, but I thought he did some G League coaching before he got the Raptors gig. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I mean, yeah, he definitely worked his way up. And what I mean by work his way up, I mean, okay, he's new blood. He's not, he's never coached, at the head coaching position in the NBA before, so he's getting his first shot. So, shout out to him for, getting the gig. And I also heard in regard to the Pacers that they did offer D'Antoni a deal, and D'Antoni turned it down.
Interesting.
So my theory on that is I think he's looking at the point guard spot and he's saying to himself, I don't think this guy can run my system. No disrespect to Malcolm Brogdon, but I don't think he's not. I don't think he's Steve Nash, and I don't think he's James Harden.
But why not let Oladipo become James Harden though?
Good point. I know Oladipo's, camp was talking about him possibly getting a new deal, and if he doesn't get the deal, then he wants to be traded.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that, stood. I don't know if Oladipo's committed to them long term. Maybe that's also something that could have turned D'Antoni away.
Well, I didn't think he was going to say that. My theory is the stigma I have on the Pacers now that Paul George aired them out about them not wanting to spend money because they can't make them the money. I feel like D'Antoni realized, I can't make the money I want to make out here because they don't believe that they can make the money for me.
Or maybe not just that, Maestro. Maybe, they're not going to be able to retain the players that I want in my system because of that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. But, shout out to this guy for getting the head coaching gig, first coaching gig. So,
awesome. Let's talk about the black coach.
Yeah. So 3 openings left, I think. You got Rockets, Pelicans, and the Thunder.
And black coaches that are left.
Nate McMillan. Why not Nick McMillan?
I don't know.
I don't hear his name being, tossed out there. I don't understand.
Nate McMillan is out there. Sam Cassell is out there. Juwan Howard is out there. I know I'm missing somebody.
Yeah, there's some guys out there. I'll be honest with you. I would personally like to see James Jones get a shot at a coaching gig. You remember James Jones?
Yeah, where's he coaching?
I think he's on the. Oh my God, what staff is he on?
My God, how about Brian Shaw, who's been an assistant forever?
Yeah, well, Brian Shaw did coach the Nuggets for a few years. But yeah, his name too. I don't know. Maybe he's just not in the pool no more. But yeah. I'm trying to think. James Jones is the general manager for the Phoenix Suns.
Interesting. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I for some reason thought he was on the coaching staff. I didn't know he was front office.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Becky Hammond. I mean, I know we talked about females and that kind of movement. Yeah, I would love to see Becky Hammond, get one of these jobs if she's not waiting on Pop to step down.
Which she probably is.
Yeah. That's probably what it is, and that would probably be the smart thing to do. But yeah, you got that.
But shit, ain't Tim Duncan? Is Tim Duncan still on that bench too, though?
Yes, he is.
That sounds problematic. Cause let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Who you think they're gonna pick?
Yeah, it could be. It could be problematic. I do agree
I
with that.
I don't pretend to know the front office of San Antonio well, but I think if they had a choice between Tim Duncan and Becky Hammond, they're probably gonna pick Tim Duncan.
Okay. I gotta count how many black general managers there are in the NBA.
Interesting.
Now that we found out about James Jones, because you got Elton Brand up in Philly, as a general manager, and I might be missing somebody else. Well, it was Scott Perry up in New York, but I think they let him step down. So I got. Go ahead.
How you feel about Ty Lue? I don't feel like we really got into that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love the move. Promote from within. I wish more teams did that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a perfect spot for Ty Lue, and I think he's gonna get the best out of these guys, man.
Well, the conversation was that maybe he will not be able to get the best out of these players because they may not respect him.
Where's that coming from?
Twitter. But it's not like it's I don't know all these people I be scrolling down, but it's not like it's like one person saying it. It was enough people saying it for me to feel like, ooh, maybe this ain't a good idea. And let's be clear, I'm with it. Like Ty Lue should have a job. Ty Lue got a track record, even if it's on LeBron James' back. He got a track record where he should be a head coach. Period.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Right, and I'm sure that's the narrative that those people that are saying that people aren't going to respect Ty Lue are going by. That he got it off the back of LeBron, but let's be real. Who's the guy before him in Cleveland? David Blatt. They got David Blatt up out of there, and Ty Lue was the guy.
Yep.
And they went to the finals. I mean, you can say what you want about the East, but they went to the finals.
Yep.
So, give Ty Lue a shot, man. Shout out to Steve Ballmer, man. Shout out to that dude, man. He, trying to make sure, these black coaches, I
don't know if he was trying to look out for black coaches. Like I said, they had a guy on the damn. They had a coach on the assistant staff. They had a championship winning coach on the assistant staff. It was only right.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, the track record right now states that until proven otherwise. So I appreciate that. I got one more thing.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm gonna set this up for you real quick. So Carmelo Anthony got disrespected over the past week.
For sure.
And so you know where I'm going with this. So the Denver Nuggets Twitter handle posted a picture of, past players that played for the franchise and posted a question, who's the greatest Nugget of all time? So they had 5 players on there not named Carmelo Anthony, which is totally disrespectful. So they had Chauncey Billups, Nick Van Exel, Nikola Jokic, Alex English, and I forget the 5th guy.
Dikembe.
But it wasn't Carmelo Anthony.
Dikembe
Mutombo, yes. So, Nuggets, y'all foul for that one. Yeah. Like y'all know damn well
Chauncey could come
that if
above
y'all
for
had
that
to
list.
put up a mount. What's that?
Chauncey could come above for that list.
Yeah, for certain.
You can't take you gotta keep Alex English. You gotta keep Dikembe. I mean, I don't know how like Jokic.
Nick Van Exel's kind of questionable, but
hold on, Nick Van Exel was on that list.
What's that?
You said Nick Van Exel was on that list?
Yeah, Nick Van Exel was on that list. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, I like Nick Van Exel was more of a Laker to me, but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I don't know if he makes that list. For me,
I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. I think I got that name mixed up.
yeah, 'cause
I'm sorry.
I was sitting here trying to remember when he played for the Nuggets.
I'm sorry. I might. Yeah, I'm just looking up the names here because that's Nick. Yeah, that's Nick Van Exel in that picture.
I don't even remember him playing for the Nuggets, bro.
That's Nick Van. Yeah, that's Nick Van Exel. Yeah.
They don't have the names listed.
They didn't have the names listed. They just had the faces. But I almost thought that I got him mixed up with Alfonso Ellis. That's why I was kind of questioning.
Oh, and Alfonso Ellis, he got to be on that list.
Yeah.
Jokic comes off of that. Jokic and Billups comes off of that list.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alfonso Ellis got to be on that list.
Right. When you're talking like Mount Rushmore of Nuggets, I think Alfonso Ellis belongs on there. But
what about Raouf?
Did he play long there? Did he play for a long time over there?
He might have just been a hood. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got certain people we stamp because he keeps it real.
Wasn't he like a Grizzly for the longest?
I'm more familiar with his play as a Nugget.
Okay.
I'm trying to find that list. Well, I don't need to see the list to know who need to cut. If emphatically that's Nick Van Exel, he needs to come off. Alfonso Ellis needs to be on that list. Period.
Yeah. For certain.
Alfonso Ellis needs to be on that list.
Because I thought Nick Van Exel was questionable. Now it's like, oh damn, Alfonso Ellis was left off this thing too. So
yeah,
man. But I tell you what, man, I remember doing this with you a couple of years ago when we did the NFL. We did all the teams and we picked out the greatest player in the franchise's history. I think this whole thing with the Nuggets and them leaving Melo off being disrespectful, I think this is an idea for, some more content. I think we need to do the NBA list of all the franchises and pick who we think is the greatest player in that team's franchise's history.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Shit. All right. Well, let's do that. Let's see if we can do that this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll try to clear some time up for that.
Yep.
No doubt. If you ain't nothing else, man, I'm good to go.
Hey, man,
you can close us out.
Yes, sir. I want to say appreciate you. Thank you for everybody listening. J. Ron, we see you. What's going on, Miss Mocha Bella? Deacon Dale, what's happening? ABM 334 Bama. I believe that's Big Kid 303. Make sure I got everybody. We got everybody. Hey, we appreciate everybody in the chat room. If you missed us live, make sure you tune in on demand on bobshotsportstalkpodcast.com. Make sure you catch us on the platforms, on the social media. Not social media. DSP, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, all those platforms. We're pretty much on every platform you listen to podcasts on. Make sure you follow us at Bobshot Sports Talk Podcast on Instagram. Make sure you like the Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube page. For Trey Frazier, Maestro with Styles, we will see y'all next Tuesday. Y'all have a good week. Holla.
Peace.